Hi, I'm Lynn.
And I'm Paul, and this is
Along the Way.
I'm glad that you're with us, and we would like to share another church health, church turnaround tip. Really applies to any church situation.
Yeah, whether you're small or large.
That's right. And that tip is simply this: he who has the burden has the ministry. So we'll explain what that means a little bit.
Well, often people will come up to Paul and say, I'd really like to start such and such a ministry, let's say church library.
There you go. So I'd like to start a church library. Usually, when they say that, they're not thinking that they would like to start a church library.
They just want to see one.
Right, it'd be a great idea. So I will usually tell them, that's a great idea. Um, how would you feel about heading that project up if we backed you up with help and resources? That will tell you right there if they're interested, because I'm not going to start the church library. And if they say yes, and very often they will, then there's some next steps.
Right.
One of those steps is, and I'm very careful to lay this out, is I love your idea. How about if you put it down in writing so I can present it to our elders and discuss it, and perhaps you'd even like to be there for that meeting and present it in person. So,
Yeah.
um,
And having it in writing, you can build upon what their vision is. But you also get to see what their vision is
Exactly.
and why they would like this.
Yeah.
And
so this is kind of protection for the pastor and for church leadership in general. Pastors often have a tendency to say yes and then take over. Frankly, that will often keep the church small because a pastor can only manage so many things. You're so much better to set your people free
yes.
To do the work of the ministry than as pastors we're in the place to equip them for the work of the ministry,
Right.
as it says in Ephesians 4. So he who has the burden has the ministry.
And that's really the key of growth is getting more and more people involved. And I think that's uniquely applied to our current ministry situation where 80% of our people, if not higher, are actually working in the church with some sort of ministry.
Actively engaged,
Yeah, and usually it's the opposite. Usually it's only 20% of the people that are doing all the work,
Right.
and 80% that just come on Sunday morning. And in this case, it's the opposite. It's 80% of the people who are working and about 20%. And most of those who don't are usually elderly or infirmed and really can't.
Right. They can be your prayer warriors. And
Absolutely.
It's great to tap into them for that and for some other things they can do. But think how freeing that is. Take a moment right now as you're hearing this to think back on how many times in the past year or two someone in your congregation came up to you with an idea. And you may even have thought it's a good idea, but your next thought was, I just don't have the time. Well, as soon as you shoot that down, not only have you squelched the possibility of that ministry taking place, you've also squelched the possibility of that person coming back to you again with a desire to engage in ministry. And that gets communicated. They pass that on to friends and family. And you end up creating a culture in the church that is resistant to new ministries starting up. That's obviously not what you want. So set your people free. If they've got a burden for ministry, help them accomplish that.
Yeah, because usually it's something the Lord has put on their hearts. And we want to be in the business of encouraging people to work in the gifts that the Lord has given them.
Yeah. And that means trust. You have to trust them. And we'll spend some time in some future videos talking about leadership and trust and that kind of thing. But at this level, we can certainly mention that once you engage someone in a ministry idea that they have brought up, and you have already laid out that this goes before your governing body, you have said there's accountability here. So it's not on you to make sure it works right. It's on this person, but this person knows they're accountable,
Yes.
and they're not accountable just to you. You've let them know that you're there to help and to provide resources. What a freeing thing that is, and potentially a birthing ground for new ministries.
Absolutely. So, this is Lynn.
And this is Paul.
And we're along the way. Yes. And like and subscribe.
Yep, leave your comments and questions. We really cherish those, and we want to engage with you. So the more questions and comments that you have for us, the easier it is for us to tackle subjects that are really close to home to you.
Yeah. So we'll see you down the road.
And we'll see you along the way.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.